Hey guys, welcome back to my channel AdvaithOMG. In today's video, we are going to see how to make a mensuration calculator in Python, specifically MicroPython. If you guys don't know what MicroPython is, it's basically Python, but you are coding microcontrollers. They are basically replicas of the brains in mobile devices. And if you don't know what mensuration is, it's basically finding the area, perimeter, volume, etc. of different 2D and 3D shapes. First, let's take a look at the local library. So first, in the local library, we import the global library math. This allows us to use various math functions that we cannot use without this library. Here we actually define the library, which is called area perimeter. Now we define the function named SA. And if you take a look, all of the function names are literally just two letters. We'll see why when we look at the project code, but for now you can know that S stands for square, T stands for triangle, and A stands for area, and P stands for perimeter, etc. So SA function is finding the area of the square, and we take only one input here because it's literally just A squared, A into A. Next we find the area of the rectangle. And here we need two variables since it's length into breadth. So A into B, and we return that to the variable that is calling the function. Then we get TA, triangle area, and still we use A and B, base and height. So instead of saying half into base into height, we can just say A into B the whole divided by 2. It's the same thing. Then now CA, circle area. So here we use the math library, so math.pi into a squared. So since the area of a circle is pi r squared, math.pi into a, which is the radius, and a into a is basically a squared. So pi r squared has been replicated. Now SP, square perimeter, and here again we only need one input, so a into 4 because the square has 4 sides. Then RP, rectangle perimeter, again using two inputs, A plus B the whole into 2 because it's basically just 2 into length plus breadth. And now triangle perimeter, we have 3 inputs because the triangle has 3 sides, so A plus B plus C. And now finally for CP, circle perimeter, we return float 2 into math.pi into A. Now since the circle perimeter is just 2 pi r, 2 into math.pi into a, which in this case is radius, and we use float here because we need to convert this value into a float. It's not really needed, but it adds a nice touch. We can also use the float function over here since this also uses math.pi. Okay, now let's go into the actual project. From satellite.chitty.area perimeter, import area perimeter. So this is the location where it's stored, and the actual library which we want to import. Now while true, straight away going into a forever loop because we want to keep on asking the user, okay, what's the next shape? Do you want the area of perimeter, etc. So we define a variable shape. To the input, please enter the shape. So basically we are just asking the user to enter the first letter of whatever shape they want. This is done so that it's user friendly and they don't have to spend so much time just on typing the shape. After all, you want to do it fast, right? So we give them these options so that they know what to type. And then mensuration is basically just area or perimeter, so we use that as the variable name. So mensuration is equal to input, please enter whether you are finding the area or perimeter, and we give them options A and B. And now function equals shape plus mensuration. So what we do here is we are concatenating strings, shape and mensuration. We say strings because whatever the user inputs is obviously going to be text. So, and by saying plus, we are concatenating or joining the two strings together to get one long text. And that is assigned to the function variable. Obviously it's not needed, but it makes the remaining code very much easier to understand. Alright, now if not shape is equal to C. So basically we are saying if the user has asked for any shape except a circle. And then another if condition, if the function shape plus mensuration is equal to TA, that is the area of the triangle. Now, one thing I'll say here is there are a lot of if conditions in this code because we want it to be very user friendly. If these if conditions are not here, then we always have to say please enter the length, please enter the length, please enter the length, which is just the input or unit in the library term. Okay, but if we are finding a circle, that's going to be confusing. Please enter the length. What? No, we should be asking please enter the radius. Okay, so first we are checking if not shape is equal to C. So if we are asking for anything except the circle, and if the function is equal to TA, triangle area. If we are finding the triangle area, then we don't say length, we say the base and height. Okay, so this is a special exception, so that's why we need an if condition specifically for this. And then we ask input 1 equals int, convert the answer into an integer, input please enter the base. Okay, if it is not triangle area, then we are free to say please enter the length, because square, rectangle, triangle, perimeter, these all have a common term, that is length. And now else for this first if condition. So if they are asking a circle, then we say please enter the radius. Alright, now another if condition. If the shape is equal to square or the shape is equal to C. Now why do we check for these two specifically? It's because these square and circle require only one input to find the area or perimeter. So that's why we check for these separately. And then we set an answer variable to convert the answer to string, get attribute, that is whatever they have entered, square or circle, area perimeter, which is the library name, function, and now you see why we have all these small names. It's because function is shape plus mensuration, which is basically just 2 letters. So using that, we are easily able to identify just by joining the shape and mensuration variables, we can get the name of our functions. Okay, so area perimeter, the library, function, the variable, aka the function in our library, and then input 1, which is the parameter or argument, and then we print answer plus answer. Now here begs the question, why do we put in string over here? Well, it's because micropython and any coding language in general doesn't really allow the concatenation or joining of 2 different data types. So for example, if we were to try and concatenate a string and an integer, it wouldn't work because they're different data types. So that's why we convert this answer into a string, so that we can combine the string with the variable which holds a string. Now you might be thinking, okay, but why didn't we use a string over here? Well, you're right, we could use it, but the answer wouldn't change, because anyway, the user is already always inputting a string, and we have not put anything over here. So by default, it will become a string because we have used input. So that's a little confusing, but it's pretty easy to understand once you get the idea. Alright, now an else. That is, if the user is asking for a rectangle or a triangle. Now those require more than one input, so that's why they are separate. If the shape is equal to rectangle, okay, because we use rectangle separately now, because triangle has a special case, because if they are asking for the triangle perimeter, which would not be covered in this if condition, by the way. So if they are asking for the triangle perimeter, then we need 3 values, but a rectangle only requires 2. So we should know how many values we should ask for, 2 or 3. That's why we check if the shape is a rectangle. If so, input 2 equals, please enter the breadth, okay? Answer, it's the same piece of code except there's another input number 2, because that function requires 2 inputs, A and B. Alright, then we just print, which is the same thing, and else, that is, if the shape is a triangle. Now this can be triangle area or triangle perimeter, okay? And now we check again if the mensuration is equal to P. So if they are asking the perimeter, we should ask for 3 inputs. If they are asking the area, we only need to ask for 1 more, since we have already asked 1 over here. So if the mensuration is perimeter, if they are asking for the perimeter, then input 2, which is the same thing, please enter the length of the second side, and input 3, please enter the length of the third side. This piece of code is the same, except there's another input number 3, and then print answer, which is the same thing. And else, that is, if they are asking for the triangle area, then we just say input 2 equals, please enter the height, and the same thing, input number 2, and print answer plus answer. And since this is in a while true loop, it will print our answer and then ask the next thing. So let's take a look. Alright, please enter the shape. Let's see, let's get a square. Start things off simple. Please enter whether you are finding the area or perimeter. Let's find the perimeter. Please enter the length. So we'll say 3. Answer 12. 3 into 4. Nice. Now let's find the square area. Let's enter the length as 8. So it should come back as 8 squared or 64. Here we go, 64. Now let's find a rectangle. And let's find the perimeter. Please enter the length. And now you see that it is asking for the breadth, not the length again. So let's say 9. And by the formula, we should get 16 into 2 or 32. Here we go, 32. Now let's find the area. Please enter the length. Let's say 3 and 4. So we should get 3 into 4, that is 12. Alright, that's what we got. Now let's find a triangle perimeter. So it should ask us for 3 variables now. So 9. Alright, please enter the height, 6. Oopsies. Alright, it's giving us an error because I forgot to enter any value for the mensuration. So let's restart that and put in triangle perimeter. So that's why it asked us for the length there, because technically the function variable was not TP because I didn't enter anything for the mensuration. So you have to be a little careful while using this calculator, but it compensates because it's user friendly. Alright, let's make sure we've entered. Yes, we have. Please enter the length. Please enter the length of the second side. Please enter the length of the third side. 6 plus 4 plus 7, that is the 17. Alright, now let's find the triangle area. Please enter the base and the height. So what this should be, it should give us 12. Half into 6 into 4. Alright, 12.0. Okay, now let's try a circle. And let's do the perimeter. which is 2 pi r. So enter the radius 8. Now this gives us 50. Alright, circle again, and now let's do the area pi r squared. Enter the radius 4. Here we go, it's the same thing as this, because the formulas are basically related to each other. So since 8 and 4 are also related to each other by multiples of 4, we get the same answer. So that's how math works. And yeah, that's also how the calculator works, because it's working flawlessly. Guys, that's going to be the end of this video since it has become too long. However, there's still so much more we can do. For example, we could find the volume of shapes now. Since we don't have time for that, smash that like button if you want to see me make a volume calculator in addition to this mensuration calculator. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a video. Bye guys!